to change, even if I want to realize. 'Cause I've been sitting here, same old ways, taking off without the same mistake. Darling, where you going? It won't be as simple for you. If I saw another day, only to scream into the night. Nothing ever tries to change, even if I want to realize. 'Cause I've been sitting here, same old ways, taking off without the same mistake. Can I leave it all behind? Follow all the leading signs. When the dark is growing and the light is closing in, darling, where you going? It won't be as simple for you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our lovely Canadian audience from across the border. We have our resident Canadian, or the closest thing we have to a Canadian, on my left-hand side. Well, it's technically my left-hand side, but for the audience, it's the right-hand side. Smacks, representing Michigan, just one hop, skip, and a jump across the Great Lakes and getting over to Canada. So, you know, Smacks is our resident closest to Canada. How do you feel about broadcasting the top talent from high schools in Canada here?
Well, firstly, it doesn't really feel like I'm that close to Canada right now, Mark, because it is about 86 degrees where I am right now. It is very, very warm, so a little bit uncomfortable about that, but I am more than comfortable to get ready to talk about these Canadian high school teams we're about to see on the Rift, Rafa. You like that transition? I liked it.
I'll give you a 7.5 on that. You know,
Okay, all right.
I think I was hoping that there would be a little bit more, but I'm glad you threw the ball back into the court. I will contest you on the point that you say that you're not really feeling close to Canada. In fact, I have some Canadian colleagues who are saying that it is very hot and muggy today, being close to Toronto and Mississauga. So, I mean, Smacks, both of y'all are surrounding those bodies of water, so the humidity is going to come in strong on as we are getting closer and closer to the summer days. Not quite in the summer season until June 21st, of course, with the summer solstice arriving. But these two high schools, we got Pine Tree Secondary High School taking on Sequam Secondary High School. It's the T-Wolves versus the Seahawks, respectively, here, Smacks. And already, if we were to go down an animal tier list, Seahawks doesn't really sound like they would be able to take down Wolves, Max, but, you know, I want to see if you would play devil's advocate here.
You know, you're probably right if the battle was on land, but I've never seen a wolf fly through the air, Rafa. So
that is true.
I think it's just going to have to come down to the terrain of the battlefield that these two are playing on. Of course, we do know what terrain that will be. It will be Summoner's Rift. It will be a best of 3, and it will be in the finals here for the BCSS entire league that's going on right now. The finals are about to occur, and we've seen some crazy finals over here at PlayVS on the stream over the past few weeks. But yeah, we haven't seen anything come out of Canada quite yet. So British Columbia, it's your time to shine.
Throughout this week, as you mentioned before, on the PlayVS Spring 21 high school finals, we have covered multiple states, including Arkansas, California, Georgia yesterday, Central, even Michigan, representing your home turf as well, Smacks. And now, going across the border. It's the only time we'll be able to go across the border for now until the rest of the world is able to return to normalcy. But for these two teams here, Smacks, as you mentioned before, it's going to be a battle of terrain. And I don't know if you realized how true those words are, because with the current landscape of the meta, even professional play, as it bleeds down into higher levels of competitive play, like PlayVS high school finals, you know, some picks, like the Rumble that we have seen, really do depend on the type of terrain that the teams are going to be battling in, because if they're in choke points surrounded by multiple walls and corridors where they can't really escape, then equalizers are incredibly deadly and can turn fights and can be clutch for game wins.
Yeah, Rumble is so deadly in the meta right now. We haven't seen it banned quite yet in this game, so it still can be picked, as we already a few of the bans through. Kale, Evelyn, and Lulu are off the board by the T-Wolves. And something tells me that the player named Caress probably does play a lot of Evelyn. That feels like an Evelyn name to me. It's probably where that one's coming from. On their side, though, Rengar, Morgana, and Kaisa are off the board. So, and Rumble's still here.
And for those that don't know, the last Caress is the ultimate ability name for Evelyn. D-Neck is not an ultimate ability name. In fact, is none of the ability names. So, but this guy is probably just really sick at Rengar. So, and you want to respect a very good Rengar player, because even though it is not the highest levels of professional play and doesn't really exist in standards, for situations like these where a comfort pick like a Rengar or like an Evelyn can exist, if you don't punish it early on, the weaknesses that it does have, and it gets to that level 6 point, then it can be very frustrating and very difficult to control. But T-Wolves going with a Samira first pick. And Smacks, I know you're a big Samira fan, but now she's got to deal with a big dog in the top lane.
Nasus can be pretty tricky to deal with as Samira. It's not nearly as bad as other champions, though. It's not as bad as you might think, because for Samira, the attack speed slow that is attributed with Wither on Nasus's W doesn't actually matter too much. A lot of your damage comes from weaving in your abilities through all of the damage that you deal, so the Wither doesn't matter too much. You also dash around a lot, so the movement speed slow doesn't mean a whole lot. However, it does mean that you're probably going to be in range of the bonk stick. And I'm not talking about Wukong. This is the other king of the animal kingdom, the Nasus in that top lane. Likely going to be going up top with Winnable. And we do see the other solo laner locked in for Neb. That's going to be the Yone. So some melee brawlers coming out.
I see an interesting hover. We're not gonna be debated though. We'll wait until the lock-in comes in. Going back to this Nasus pick though, you know, you say bonk stick and say it to be confused, not to be confused with Wukong. I think you're doing a little disservice to Nasus's weapon of choice. It's DKing, man. Come on, you gotta respect the OGs and Trick 2G and Cirquez, the masters of opening and breaching the gates. With DKing, 500 plus stacks at 20 minutes. That's going to be Winnable's ultimate fantasy goal. D-Neck. No Rengar on the table, but the Xin Zhao, something that we saw Pete Ketter in the Georgia finals yesterday, used to great success with such high agency in the early game, being able to snowball lanes, thanks to the updated Wind Becomes Lightning and Audacious Charge synergy now.
A really strong champion, especially in that dueling threat. Like you said, this champion can go for a lot of early game ganks. He still has the same power with the level 2 that he always had, so just take red buff and then go gank. You still have that opportunity. However, like you said as well, with the newly acquired synergy with the W and the E, the level 3 gank just has a tremendous amount of range packed into it. So I'm excited to see that one in action in this game. Speaking of gank range, the Zac is now off the board, attempting to attack the jungle pool continuously for Caress. The magic damage junglers seem to be what's being attacked so far, Rafa, so maybe things like Elise or that Rumble that you mentioned earlier are still in the wheelhouse of Caress thus far, but still they have an opportunity to ban one more champion or maybe a support, because it doesn't look like the Seahawks have locked in that quite yet. They do have Xayah though.
Curious to see what is going to be kind of the last picks here for Seahawks. We see the solo laners locked in. This is given an advantage over to T-Wolves to get their counter pick of choice, a Fiddlesticks ban as well. So, looks like Caress has been opting and dabbling in the mystic arts of the forbidden junglers, not the meta ones, because no Rumble ban signals to me that T-Wolves don't believe that Caress has been putting in enough time on the Rumble or is ready to play it here on the stage. But Karthus, okay, another powerhouse AP jungler, Smacks.
So either way, it looks like Caress is just going to be playing a mage every single game, because 3 AP junglers are off the board. Still has it in that wheelhouse, the Karthus being locked in as the scaling threat in the jungle position. We've gotten to see a few Karthus games over the course of the last week as well, Rafa. The scaling can be really good on that champion. I believe we got to see one yesterday from the very same Piketter from for the Karthus. So this champion, we got to see that in action, can be really strong. The scaling is really nice. We got to see a huge comeback happen yesterday with it. I've got that unlocked now. The Karthus scaling, the Nasus infinite scaling too. It does feel like the Seahawks have time on their side.
Lissandra being locked in means that the Sylas will be going into the top lane, matching up against that Nasus. One of the things you have to remember in history of where Nasus has been able to shine in competitive play is if there isn't enough lane bullies in the meta to be able to push him out of lane to prevent him from being able to stack up his Q passive, being able to get extra damage. Sylas, not sure if he's going to be doing that bullying aspect enough to the Nasus. He'll be able to match him somewhat in sustain, but you cannot sleep on the massive amount of lifesteal that is built into Nasus's main passive, which which allows him in the first place to be able to sustain even the most brutal of lanes.
It's pretty good. You just get a whole bunch of extra stats on that one, and that extra stat is just lifesteal. I believe it caps out at 20%. That's 2 Vamp Scepters worth of lifesteal, which is pretty nice on a champion where your main damage is just those auto attacks. So 4 winnable up in this top lane, just like you said, this is going to be a battle of sustain, a battle of who can scale out and get those items online. And oftentimes that ends up meaning that whichever jungler arrives first does give over a massive advantage. So for Caress, for DNEC, they can get up there and influence which way the lane ends up going. It's going to mean a lot for these 2 top laners in this game. So this is something that I'm really looking forward to. Across the Rift, though, Rafa, I do want to touch on the bot lane a little bit. We did get to see the Xayah as the lock-in, the Samira as well, which you said. I absolutely love Samira. The all-in threat's really, really good, really potent, and paired up with Thresh, too. You have a lot of crowd control, a lot of burst, and that's going to be something that they really do have to keep in mind for the Seahawks in this game.
I do like the fact that Seahawks were able to lock in some additional long-range engage, because when we were looking at that composition, apart from the Yone with Fate Sealed, there's not really many ways for that team to force fights, but then the Leona comes in, Solar Flare being added on top of it. Now you have 2 major ultimate abilities to be able to force fights on your terms. The follow-up is not going to be necessarily the best from Seahawks, but if you find picks, you might be able to force a numbers advantage, delete one person from the map. And, you know, the beautiful thing about having a Karthus on your team, it doesn't matter where he is on the map. If you find a pick, you say, yo, press Requiem. Bro, I got you. Boom. And then the Orbital Strike comes in everywhere. So being able to force numbers advantages is going to be the name of the game for Seahawks. Whereas when we're looking at T-Wolves, you got to get off to the game on an early pace, and you got to snowball insanely fast. You got to hit the ground running before that mid game comes in. So this team is the first one hitting those item power spikes, because then you will always be stat checking the rest of the Seahawks.
You know, both Karthus Requiem and Leona Solar Flare kind of remind me of the ability in Valorant where I think it's Brimstone. He pulls out the tablet and starts like shooting things across the map. Am I right on that? Is it Brimstone or is it someone else? Am I thinking of the wrong character? I haven't played Valorant a lot. Maybe I shouldn't have made this reference at all.
He doesn't. I think you're right. I think it is Brimstone, because he also has the ultimate where you a lot of the times of Valorant, you're playing for defense after you plant and playing for defense of said plant. Normally, as Brimstone, you can like go hide somewhere in the corner, and then as soon as you hear them going for the defuse, have an ultimate ability, which is an orbital strike, and you can just blast it right onto the defuse.
I know these things.
I've never seen you play Valorant, but that's impressive. So,
I played one game of actually exactly Brimstone.
Oh, really?
That's all I've done. So
were you able to click head smacks?
Nope. No, I was not.
See, that's the nice thing about Valorant is that it doesn't matter how good you are with a certain character. It matters more if you can actually have gun mechanics, right? And I think that's why the game. Yeah. Oh man.
Nah, you don't want to see me play that game. I can play League. I can play that game, but you don't want to see me play Valorant. But anyway,
it's okay, Max.
You know what I want to see? I want to see this first game come underway as we're about to get onto the Rift for it. We've got the Seahawks and the T-Wolves in this one. And one thing about this Leona as well that I do want to mention as a Samira player myself, one of the things that I find most obnoxious to deal with in the game is any champion who can click me on the head and just stun me wherever I am. Leona has exactly that. Not only just with the Q, but also the Solar Flare ultimate can do the same thing. It can chain really well. You can't block it with Samira's Blade Whirl either. So Leona I find to be a very strong counter pick into the Samira, and also later on, it works really well against Thresh as well, because Thresh, he really likes to drag his opponents, or drag his allies, rather, over to where he is, over to safety. But as Leona, you can save your Solar Flare and stun both of them at the same time. So I really like this pick overall. Once it hits level 6, it's going to be very, very deadly, and the T-Wolves are going to have to play on their toes.
We've actually seen that before, Smacks. I want to say that it was a Proving Grounds match where... Or it was either a Proving Grounds match or an Academy match. I think over at Arena of Legends, we saw that one of the teams was trying to rescue their Jinx to safety, and then the Leona player on the other team immediately read the play, didn't even try to go for where the Jinx was at the time clicking the lanterns, just like, oh, it's gonna be right there because that, you know, Thresh is right there, and then boom, got both of them. And I remember you audibly just going, "What are you doing?"
That sounds like me. I don't remember this, but I do plead guilty. I fully believe that I did do that, because it's a really good matchup for Leona. Like I was saying, you have that prediction ready, and you have the ultimate and the tools to deal with that Dark Passage, which not a lot of champions do. You could see that they were hovering the Leona and the Nautilus, because both those champions have that capability, but Leona is the option in the end. It does have a bit of trouble synergizing with the Xayah. I will say Xayah typically wants to run away, while Leona can't do that. If you're hitting your abilities, you have to go in. It's exactly what your Zenith Blade does.
Yeah.
But it's still
Thresh?
going to be pretty deadly, I think.
Uh-oh. Doesn't seem like Thresh is there.
He's
Okay. Oh, okay. They're coming. They're coming. Okay. Well, the level 1 from T-Wolves going to be slightly delayed. But if they're just waiting for the members of Seahawks to potentially walk and face check all 5 of them, then Insanity is not going to miss out on too much as he finally arrives. Oh, they're just going to go for a delayed level 1 invade.
Oh.
Good Samaritan will spot them out. Flash, death sentence. Okay, well.
Good trade. Definitely a good trade. Good Samaritan no longer will have Flash until about 6 minutes into this game, so really big window for champions like this Xin Zhao that D-Neck is piloting to attack Xayah in this early game. Not to mention the teleport capabilities from Asphyxia and Astrolift. They can go down there and heavily impact this lane. That's a really good trade. Also Insanity, Hex Flash, so you don't even really use that much.
Exactly. I don't know. The support flash for 80 carry flash always worth. I just didn't realize we'd be starting off that aggressively that into game 1. But man, Sanity a little late to the party at the start, and then says, "Don't matter. I still see an 80 carry dead on my screen. All right, got the flash. It's close enough."
You know, Rafa, now that we are no longer on cameras, I feel comfortable admitting this because we can't see it. But before the stream started, before this game started, I ate a vitamin gummy. Wait, hold on. Hold on.
Wow, they are really putting the pedal to the metal in the early game. We talked about how they had so much agency, and they needed to start out the game just right, and they just might do it. Champion Sniper flashing forward, picking up first blood for the T-Wolves.
Level 2 gank from Xin Zhao right there. Xin Zhao win now. Come bot lane. They don't have flashes. Hex flash forward from Insanity. Just super nice play, and the teamwork as well. Champion Sniper did have to use that flash, so there is that same potency for maybe someone like a Caress to come on down to this lane and do the exact same thing, but getting that first blood is going to be really valuable, and you as Xin Zhao, you're never really going to outfarm Karthus, so that's a really good use of your time.
Honestly, this... Whoa! How'd that hook land? He threaded the needle right in between the minions. My God, Insanity and Champion Sniper. This is a way to make a statement in Game 1 of our British Columbia Finals.
Wow. That's one of those ones where if you're a good Samaritan, you're like, thanks Riot Games. I don't know how that hit me. But it was just masterfully executed by Insanity to secure that one. We got a top gank, though.
Caress is going to be level 4. But a teleport is coming in from Asphyxia. And now the 2-on-2 doesn't seem as favorable for Winnable and Caress. And Caress, because he has Exhaust, doesn't mean he has any way out. Beautiful teleport from Asphyxia. Turns around and makes sure that Astrolift doesn't even have to burn any summoners in the gank.
And the T-Wolves are really popping off so far in this early game, Rafa. They are already up well over 1,000 gold, and it's spreading across every single lane. We get to watch this hook yet again through the minions. Ooh.
Oh, my God. Beautiful.
That's beautiful. Chef's kiss, Insanity. Chef's kiss. You know what? This game has been too wild. I can't complete my story time. I'll have to do it later.
You know, that moment, when Insanity threaded that hook through the minions, is almost like when Luke Skywalker had to fire the 2 torpedoes into the Death Star in episode 4. New Hope, baby.
Spoilers.
All right, listen, if you haven't seen Star Wars yet, then you're not going to remember this. So just go and watch it and culture yourself if you haven't seen Star Wars yet. At least the original trilogy. Yeah, episode 4, 5, and 6. And then I know some friends are going to blast me on this, but you don't need to see 1, 2, and 3. But actually, you can see episode 3. Revenge of the Sith is dope.
Cassidy might not like that take.
It's okay. She can, or they can argue with me later on. Winnable getting ganked here in the top lane by DNEC, just applying more pressure on the Xin Zhao. This is what I love to see, Smacks. We have competitive diversity in terms of the strategies that are being exemplified by both teams in this finals here. On the one side for Seahawks, you have a more scaling composition the later the game goes on. You have this jungler who relies on accelerating their farm lead as much as they can. They don't have the best ganking, but as soon as they hit level 6, they'll be able to globally impact the map. Whereas when you look at DNEC on this Xin Zhao, his game is all about, I gotta hit these lanes hard. And I gotta make sure that my opponents are put in the dirt so that they don't get to that late game scaling factors. Asphyxia forcing the flash out of Neb. Close call.
Yeah, nice timing with the level 6 power spike right here. It's looking like Neb's gonna have to recall and take a teleport back to the lane. Just a good use of that, because now I'm gonna be seeing that Neb won't have the teleport if he chooses to use it here for a later play around this Drake, and we're seeing that the early level 6 is going to be really nice. Getting some comedic thresh hooks, I believe.
Well, no, it's because Insanity is like really pushing the boundaries of how in between the minions he can get with these death sentences, and so I love the threat that is coming out. But all the pressure that Champion Sniper and Insanity have put into this bot lane allows them the ability to get the first dragon of the game here for the T-Wolves.
So a lot of early pressure exerted by DNEC. You can see the camp lead isn't even that large. Seeing an invade come through over here.
Holy moly.
Kind of alone. Nice hook.
I mean, Insanity is a level 4 Thresh to a level 5 Karthus, but when you got friends on the way, you force him off the blue buff. He's got no flash.
This is huge, Rafa. DNEC is just so crazy on this Xin Zhao, going for all of these plays all across the map. And this all started off of that level 1 invade, where Insanity got the flash earlier. He's so confident. He just run up. His team just took Drake. There it is. And all the while, just multiple plays going on at the same time. Caress is like, they're on Drake. I guess I'm just going to go take the blue buff. Nope. You're in the threat range, buddy. You're in the splash zone. Sploosh.
Not even Caress has enough damage to make them truly taste the rainbow with those Skittles. And when Insanity can just walk up a level down, relying only on the tankiness and the durability of the stats you get from Aftershock off of a play, Caress is not safe in his jungle on the bottom side of the map. There's nothing that Good Samaritan or Geach can really do to protect the Karthus if they're always getting shoved in.
want to add to that Insanity is going for a very aggressive Thresh in this game. Did go for the Aftershock. He's gone for the Q Max as well. This is not the defensive Thresh that we've seen out of some esports games across the world right now, where you go Guardian, you max your Lantern. No, 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 no. Not Insanity. He's going for the plays, Rafa. He's going into the jungle. He's setting up for the kills, and it's already worked so well in this one, participating in 3 out of the 4 plays across the map.
You know, I was taking a look at the dossier for Insanity on the roster, and check this out, Smacks. Actually, hold that point. Duck might be going in for the gank, flashing on the Good Samaritan, throwing out the ultimate ability. It's not going to get anything more than a couple flashes, but the pressure is felt. And I want to check this out, Smacks. Insanity not only is so damn good at League of Legends, but he has also won 2 Smash Ultimate tournaments in Pine Tree as well. Oh, but this is the Requiem global gank. Astrolift trying to flash away. Winnable. One more Decane.
No.
He's going to do it. Oh! He lived?
That's through Requiem, too. The healing was just enough there from Astrolift. This is through Grievous Wounds. There's a Bramble Vest right there. Still worked out. Oh, man, that was so, so close to a tragic solo kill up there, but it was almost so glorious for Winnable. It almost gave over a Dark Seal to Caress, but it just seems that the Seahawks can't quite catch a break yet in this game.
We're just about to hit the 10-minute mark. We have to remind our audience that this is not when Seahawks are going to be at their strongest point. That advantage goes over to the T-Wolves, respectively. But the onus is on T-Wolves to take this lead that they have gathered, which is just under 3,000 gold, and to continue harassing and pushing the members of the Seahawks away from resources, away from the ability to get back into this game, as we already see Insanity making great use of his roam timing and knowing that Champion Sniper will just be fine in the 1v2 on the bottom side of the map.
Such a bully on this Thresh, Rafa, just walking around the rift. There's a hook. Oh, no.
He's dead.
Yep. Insanity takes it as well. Not even using the Ignite, but look out, D-Neck. All right, gonna live. This Thresh is just ruthless across the rift. Look at bot lane as well. Champion Sniper has a 30 CS lead in this lane, where Insanity is just going elsewhere, going and helping out the entire map. And the AD carry still has the most CS in the entire game.
No puns intended here, Smacks, but that truly is Insanity.
I agree.
Oh,
and
man.
I think you did intend that pun. I call shenanigans on that.
Well, I mean, believe what you want to believe, Smacks. I mean, as I was thinking of it and I had to take a pause, I was like, oh, do I really go through with this? Well, we're balling. Winnable. Insanity is there with friends. Oh my god, he juked right back into it, trying to avoid the death sentence. But on a 1-on-3, this dog is going to the dog pound. Oh no. The flash into the wall. Doesn't make it out alive. Astrolift picking up his first kill of the game. The gold lead has been extended to just under 4,000. This gives the Seahawks an opportunity to take up this first dragon for themselves.
Or does it? Okay, I think it does. But D-Neck is going to look. Yeah. Is still going to be traded over. Could you imagine if that stole it? Oh, that would have been... I think I would have shed a tear to watch this play yet again. Astrolift has the friends. The teleport up to the top lane yet again from Asphyxia. And yeah, Winnable cannot escape the wrath of the Thresh hook. Insanity has just been so on point.
Yeah, predicting the juke on it as well is nuts. Props to this player right here. Doing an absolutely fantastic job, really setting up the tempo and the pace for this game and setting up the pillars of success for T-Wolves so far. Like we said, the game isn't over until the Nexus drops over on the side of Seahawks. And keep in mind, none of the outer turrets have fallen yet. In fact, I don't even think many plates have been picked up. One I see in the mid lane, but apart from that, Nothing that Seahawks can't necessarily recover from here, Smacks.
Yeah, this is true. Gold lead is pretty gigantic, but we've seen what late game Karthuses can do in the play versus high school tournaments. D-Neck, very quick on the Xin Zhao, can't connect the E, or the W rather. Will E over the wall and try to steal away these Krugs. Caress just has to watch as Xin Zhao, of all champions, is keeping up with the jungle clear of Karthus, thanks to these roams and the priority put in play by this team.
Yeah. I think if we want to be more accurate.
Insanity's here!
Oh my god, he's everywhere. There's nowhere that you can run winnable. Death sentence landing after the crowd control from Lysandra. Asphyxia setting up that dive for success. And they have officially knocked down the first outer tier turret on the game. Seahawks, they will look to respond, potentially taking a lot of resources on the bottom side of the map in the jungle.
Champion Sniper still has that 30 CS lead, though, even though he's forced under his own turret for this play. It's going to be some turret damage taken. There's a Zenith Blade.
Does he actually take this 1v2? But he's CC'd for so long. Wild dash, though. Mortal Shield Bow will pop the passive. So Champion Sniper will be able to survive despite Geech running the Solar Flare and the Ignite, throwing it all out the window, barring the flash. So that the Champion Sniper is able to survive a 1v2, Seahawks tried, right? But it's not going to be enough.
Little bit too durable there under the turret with the extra shield from the shield bow. Oh. That might have been risky for D-Neck, but Geech has seen what this Xin Zhao has done across the rift and does not take the risk. You can see the Champion Sniper is going to be pushing in this bottom wave yet again. They've got the members over here, maybe going for yet another aggressive play. You can see where Insanity actually is right now. Warding out the blue side of the jungle, trying to find a stray Karthus to kill yet again. 0-3-0 is Caress in this one, and yeah, the champion pool has been attacked very heavily, but I think it's more than just the champion pool. I think it's personal, Rafa. They are really out for blood in this jungle matchup.
And at this point, when you look at the members of T-Wolves, apart from Asphyxia, everyone has reached their first item power spike as they're just...
Wow.
Wow. I didn't even have time to set up that play. Neb just got deleted.
Oh!
And they're going to go for more. Winnable. Might have not been in the best spot. D-Neck has been thrown over the wall and can't audaciously charge back over to help Astrolift, but Winnable going to get routed off here. Walking right into Asphyxia. It's going to throw out the entire CC that he has left. But already using the Frozen Tomb on Neb means that Winnable will be able to walk out alive as... Man, D-Neck.
No. It is 8-0 right now, Rafa. We're gonna watch a couple more of these kills go over. Neb, this is okay. Play by play it this time.
Neb getting...
Nope, still too slow.
Come on, man. He's just gone.
Astrolift does realize that he can't 1v1 winnable. Still a level lead over to this Nasus. You can see the bonks doing a lot of damage, but one fed Nasus does not a team make in League of Legends. I think that's in a Edgar Allan Poe book somewhere.
That's stretching. Although I could see it in some Charles Dickens novels, depending on the wording and how long it takes to describe such power level. Like, if it takes 5 pages just to describe the details on...
The road?
Yeah. Or putting butter on a piece of toast.
Yeah.
Taking up, like, 3 whole pages. Man. Great Expectations, by the way. It's a good book, but, man, there are some pages you're just like, can I just get to the point already?
Oh wait, the turtle crossing the road, was that Charles Dickens? That was To Kill a Mockingbird. Did he write that?
No, that's no. Oh, I can't think of the name.
I can't either. But that's my mistake. I got my authors mixed up. But yes. he did. Charles Dickens is definitely a long-winded fella, I would say.
We are
But
getting
you
to the
know
point in
what?
the game where it is going to be kind of long-winded unless T-Wolves are successfully able to force fights, because once Frozen Tomb is down, you are really relying on Insanity and DNEC to find picks. And to find picks, Max, you got to set up proper vision control, where you are setting it around choke points and entrances to resources and objectives that Seahawks really want to contest. And when the neutral objective's down, those are the camps. That's why Caress has been getting bullied in the jungle.
There's going to be a 4th turret taken as well. Still almost a perfect game at this position. They did lose out on 1 Drake, but apart from that, in all things T-Wolves, they're going to be starting up on the 2nd Rift Herald of the game too, just to try to continue their siege streak. And I feel like nobody can contest on the side of the Seahawks at all. Really, not just in the Rift Herald. This problem extends to the rest of the game as well. They do now have their mythics completed, so I feel like they have that possibility. But with the way that DNEC and Insanity have just been playing Drill Sergeant with this team and going for all these plays, it does feel rather unlikely that any aggressive, favorable play is going to come through from the Seahawks. They are going to need to find some rally back, but the chances are growing slimmer and slimmer.
We'll note that Seahawks have completed a majority of their mythic items, though. That is something that they can start to rely and lean back on. Caress has 4 Dark Harvest stacks, so not ideal when you are hoping to snowball with the game, but when you look at the rest of the champions and the landscapes, there's a point where Winnable approaches his most powerful spike in the game. Divine Sunderer, yeah, that's one, but then once he hits one more item, whether if he wants to finish this Thornmail or another tank item, then not only he has enough damage to be able to 1v1 almost anyone, potentially 1v2, but also he has enough durability to be able to last against a lot of the burst that is coming in from members like Astrolift and Asphyxia. Even Champion Sniper, as well as you may or not agree with me, Champion Sniper, you know, like you said, is more combo reliant rather than straight up auto attack damage reliant.
I would definitely agree. Okay. Asphyxia is back. I was a little nervous for a sec, but yeah, the burst damage is definitely going to be there. For Samira, you do need to channel up your ultimate a little bit, which can be a little tricky when there are a lot of mobile characters coming your way with the Leona and the Yone and everything. It can be a little daunting. However, there are still quite melee, and if they use their abilities on the other members of the T-Wolves team, such as this monstrously fed Xin Zhao and Silas, and everyone on this team has a gold lead. So for Champion Sniper, you kind of are feeling a sigh of relief. You can build up your items, and as long as you don't get picked out, you likely will be able to cast that Inferno trigger.
The siege being set on by the T-Wolves. Going to be able to knock down the second or inner tier turret. The Rift Herald's going to get a crash onto the inhibitor turret, doing a lot of damage, and Winnable on the wrong side of the tracks does buy some time for the Fate Seal to come out for the members of Seahawks, but whoa! Astrolift says, nice Fate Seal, but let me show you mine. Picks up a triple in an instant, but Neb, being the last member to survive Caress, having a massive Requiem inside the base, Neb in a 1v3, is going to look for one on an Insanity. He gets a shutdown, gets another shutdown, but just like that, DNEC and Astrolift are able to turn and close out all 5 members on the Seahawks. We're not going to be able to pick up this inhibitor turret, but I don't think they have enough time to pick up the inhibitor.
They might not want to either, giving over those super minions to their opponents. They can instead go turn their sights over to the Drake. But man, Rafa, this fight was rather intense. Winnable thought that he was safe on this path, but there's so much crowd control. You can't safely do that. You do have to shout out Neb for finding a really nice Fate Sealed, but just as you said in the cast, Astrolift pull out a Silas quote. What's yours is mine. Exactly what we see right there. And even though a couple of members do fall Really, any kill that the Seahawks could possibly pick up right now would be a shutdown. They do get 3 of them, but they still lose out in the fight. They still get aced, still lose 2 structures, and I believe that was the Drake taken as well. So the T-Wolves are now on 3 Drakes.
That is kind of the daunting thing about Silas. You can be playing champions like Yone, like Malphite, like Ornn as well. And you can have powerful team fighting moments, but then the Silas can be like, all right, let me one-up you real quick. Let me show you how you really pull this one off. And there's moments like those where it's like, oh, crap. You forget that they can take that ultimate in the blink of an eye and then just use it. And since they have the ability and the versatility of being able to choose which and when at any given point, it's hard for Seahawks to always be consistently aware of that, especially in the heat of the moment.
Running out of options as well, with all of their mid lane turrets fallen, all of their top lane turrets fallen outside of this inhibitor one, and the Baron as well started up. They do have vision on this, but they've just been closed in so expertly well by all of these turrets being taken, and you can see Caress not even necessarily interested in stopping the Baron. They know that it would be far too unsafe, far too risky to move on over to this objective. It will just go over to the T-Wolves completely uncontested. You can't access this at all for global ultimates. Unfortunately, Requiem only hits champions, so can't
Vixia
use
is
that
actually
on Baron.
teleporting just to potentially deny this turret take from Winnable, but yeah, it still goes down. Wither comes out. Winnable's gonna pop. Oh, that's a big dog. That's a big dog. You better run, boy. Vixia popping the stopwatch. Zony's Hourglass, I should say, but it's not gonna be enough, and Winnable doesn't even need the secure. Winnable's like, that's a +6. Don't ever Requiem for that kill again, dude.
Astrolift does get the kill in response, but yeah, it definitely does feel like Asphyxia teleporting down here just to die. Turret does fall with the extra power of the Demolish. Winnable takes a lot of damage from this, but then the Wither comes in, then the Flash comes in, and it's Asphyxia. Not much to save at that point. Bonk. Bonk.
Like, I know the Requiem was there just in case, but I can imagine that Winnable's like, man, why do you think I need ult for this? I got this. I got this. And
so
I know I said +6. It might actually be +12 now. So, because I know they made a Nasus change, so that. Oh, is it ARAMs? Okay, we might be both wrong. To be fair, none of us have really ever played Nasus. I think Joshi might know for sure. So we'll have
actually forgot that champion existed.
Damn. Well, T-Wolves almost did until Asphyxia realized that he can't fight winnable 1v1, even throwing out their full burst combo.
There's a Baroned up cannon in the base. Inhibitor will now fall. Gonna move their sights on over to the bot lane where there is another cannon ready and willing to attack. Gonna be bonked by Winnable though, so instead, hey look, there's another wave crashing in the top lane. It's almost like the T-Wolves have set this up in advance so they can have all this pressure ready for the Baron to deal all the damage that it possibly can.
Setting up minion waves? I don't even know if LCS teams do that consistently, Smash.
Oh.
Canadians are built different here. Fate Sealed's being traded 1-for-1. Astrolift and Neb trying to make the team fights happen.
Whoa.
And there's Astrolift's answer. Requiem will come out from Caress. We'll be able to pick up a couple kills in response. Insanity will still survive, even with the Leandri's Torment ticking down. Neb going forward. Uh-oh. Getting rooted up. And DNEC follows through with the audacious charge, but Winnable. It's another +6. Now on a 1-on-2. Insanity, you gotta be careful though. Winnable doesn't have flash, but if he withers you and he gets in range, you will be going down. But between the Baroned up minions, they're gonna try to end the base.
Ooh, it expires in 3 seconds. They won't have Baron right now. It's gone.
Uh-oh. Insanity. Astrolift is gonna try to do his best to dissuade the odds. No.
Whoa.
Oh my god, are they getting out alive? There is no way. They did it!
Solar Flare is coming, but yeah, they gave up. There it is. The Great Escape. The
Wow.
Magi's stacks stay intact, Rafa.
That was so cool, the way they interplayed their abilities to just delay and just stall winnable. But we got to talk about this fight again, because this is a visual Jackson Pollock painting in the making right now.
It absolutely is. The aftermath here, we do get to see the Karthus Requiem come through. I really like the set of crowd control that's layered onto Neb. See the abscond to dodge away, and then the abduct to come right back in from Astrolift. This has just been some really impressive Silas mechanics. And then we got to see later on, as you highlighted, the crowd control layering from Insanity and Astrolift to Escape was very impressive, too. The synergy was off the charts right there. So these guys have really shown their stuff. They also, I believe, just secured Cloud Soul, if my math is correct. That was their 4th Drake. They've got that permanent buff as well.
If it was Cloud Soul, we would see an Elder Dragon ticking down, but it looks like it's not Cloud Soul quite yet.
Oh,
they're on Cloud Soul point.
Did the Seahawks get it? I must have missed something. Huh.
No matter.
Well,
I don't think they'll need Cloud Soul to end the game, to be quite honest, Max. Now, if we can get a quick look at Winnable's NASA stacks, I want to see how many stacks he does have, because that may or may not change things around.
Can you hear the Zonia's sound?
I do. And you know what? It's gone.
I don't hear it anymore.
Goodness.
Oh, it's back.
627, the producers have said.
Wow.
How many stacks are on Winnable? So, I mean, that's a large cane. It will hurt. If he gets in range of Champion Sniper and gives him the bonk, that is at least a 3rd HP, I would imagine. Maybe just a 1/4. But 4 quarters or 3/3 is all you need to take down Champion Sniper. But the hook lands on the Winnable, taking a lot of damage.
Ooh.
And they all just commit to taking down the dog. And just like that, T-Wolves are going to be pressing forward into this base. They still have an open middle inhibitor to let minions run through. So is the top lane, and now all inhibitors are finally open. They won't even need double super minions, as Insanity, just as the way the game played out at the level 1 stage, he's going to end it with the flash death sentence to end the game here. But Champion Sniper and the rest of the members of T-Wolves, they're going to get taken down by this Requiem. It's a triple coming out from Caress. Might be enough to stall out the game here. One Nexus Turret has fallen. D-Neck going to try to take these odds against Neb. He doesn't win out. Neb able to hold strong in the base, keeping this last Nexus Turret alive, but it's a teleport coming in from Asphyxia. 1-on-1. Asphyxia is going to freeze him in place, and he has the burst. And Asphyxia will be the last person standing. But just as I say that, Winnable is... What? Oh my god! Seahawks, they're not giving up, Smacks. The Wither will come out, but the Frozen Tomb will put Winnable in his place. I don't think he's going to be able to catch up.
He might have tried, but yeah, there are too many blast cones in the jungle to do that. We get to see this replay. Caress deals so much damage in this fight just by going melee and then stasis in the middle of this one. And then even after death, the Karthus ultimate rains hell upon all of these members. The triple kill after death. Do get to see D-Neck attempting this turret dive just to try to keep the minions going and take down the Nexus turret, which eventually does happen, but Neb does survive that. So the Nexus, it's completely alone. There is a mid lane inhibitor respawned, but the top one is still gone. And T-Wolves really only one play away from ending this game number 1. You have to imagine they're going to start up on this Baron. Half HP already. Caress is not here. I think the Baron's gone.
The gold lead is still more than 10,000 in favor of T-Wolves, Max, but we have hit past the 30-minute mark. And you have seen how much damage Chris is doing at these stages in the game. I mean, they've pulled ahead of D-Neck in terms of gold value and stats. It's really just depending on the rest of the members in Good Samaritan and Neb to be hitting these third item power spikes. Be able to match the damage, because then maybe if you're able to hold on long enough, that third item power spike could be the difference maker and being able to fight back despite this massive gold lead, because we see how fast these members evaporate. But when Insanity keeps finding these hooks, it's always going to start things right for T-Wolves. But Astrolift going to go in with the Fate Sealed. Just like that, 2 members gone. Caress is going to pop the Requiem. Stopwatch from both champions, Cypher and Asphyxia, are going to deny the damage. Winnable and Caress gone. Geech gone. Neb and Good Samaritan is up to you to 2v3. They take down 1. Neb still has a lot of health, but T-Wolves just wail away at the Nexus, and they take game 1 in this British Columbia Finals.
There it is, Rafa, right there. We knew it was going to happen eventually. They had control of that game the entire time. All it took was that last Baron, that last fight, and that last push. They take that mid lane inhibitor, they bring in those minions, and they brute force their way through this game number 1. The T-Wolves have taken us to match point.
And we have to give credit to Seahawks, because it wasn't a 20-minute game blowout. It wasn't even 25. It took T-Wolves 33 minutes to close out the game with the insane lead that they built up, all really on the back of Insanity and DNEC just working hand in hand and ruining everyone's lives on the Seahawks in the early laning phase and the early parts of the game. But this goes to show that if there's a little bit more early bridge, a little bit more early agency for the members of Seahawks, maybe they can combat this aggressive style that the T-Wolves are bringing to the plate here, Smacks. But we'll find out what Seahawks' response is in Game 2 when we come back from the short break. So don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen.
If I saw another day, only to scream into the night. Nothing ever tries to change, even if I want to realize. 'Cause I've been sitting here, same old ways, taking off without the same mistake. Darling, where you going? It won't be as simple for you. If I saw another day, only to scream into the night. Nothing ever tries to change, even if I want to realize. 'Cause I've been sitting here, same old ways, taking off without the same mistake. Can I leave it all behind? Follow all the leading signs. When the dark is growing and the light is closing, tell me where you're going. Won't be a simple voyage.
we're back! Yeah. I forgot to do this for you, Smacks, but I wanted to make a bet because we are streaming the British Columbia finals, and because we are basically working with Canadians, that if we had made a bet at the beginning of the game, and so we're going to do it for game 2. We're going to bet on something, and the loser has to give their best O Canada rendition.
All right.
Do you know O Canada?
Not really, but you know what? The solution is just that I'll have to win.
Oh, I don't know it either, but you know, I figured
Why are we doing this then?
Well, you know what?
You know what?
You know
Yeah.
why? It's
Let's do
because Americans embarrassing themselves for the sake of content and entertainment for Canadians is the best thing that we can do as neighbors. So I figure that, you know,
Okay.
we have to make up for the other things, stupid things that we do, you know. So there'll
We
be
don't
at
have
least
time to
one.
list all of them.
There'll be at least one good thing that Canadians can think of Americans like, you know, at least Rafa and Smacks humiliated themselves on stream for our entertainment. So for that, we will provide that service. We'll get into the draft phase, and then I'll give you the bet, and then you'll have to give me your response. But looking at this game, if you missed out on game 1, T-Wolves came out swinging with quite the aggressive strat. They already had a lot of early agency built into the composition that they had, being able to force fights with the Xin Zhao, the Lissandra, and of course the Thresh, but we didn't expect the game to start off so aggressively. Insanity being able to force the flash out of Good Samaritan in the level 1 invade. That led right into DNAC coming in for a level 2 gank right off the bat, putting Good Samaritan and Geach behind, and it set up Insanity to be able to leave his lane freely and then just go roam around and just make the rest of the Seahawks have a really sad day.
It was a bombastic symphony of an early game, Rafa, and I thoroughly enjoyed all the things that we got to see, especially from Insanity's roams. I, as a support player myself in that bottom lane, am very, very excited whenever I get to see some supports just roam around and completely take over the game. One of my favorite players right now is Core JJ, and he is one of the best players at doing that, but guess I'm gonna have to bump Insanity up the list here, Rafa, because we got to see some crazy, crazy roams from him in that game. Looks like the Thresh is not gonna be banned in this game either, but the Samira is.
And they figure that, you know what? It wasn't the Thresh that was the problem. It was the... Well, to be fair, this is T-Wolves on red side now, so I wonder if Seahawks say that, you know what, Geach has a good Thresh. No, they're going straight to the Nasus. I mean, you mentioned this off broadcast, Max, but Winnable is their highest rated player, currently Diamond 2, and has a 70% win rate to boast with it as well. So if Nasus is his best champion, then what the Seahawks have to do, they need to build a composition that protects this Nasus early on and ensures that it can get off the ground rolling.
Didn't quite work in the previous game, as we got to see the early game just completely take over from Insanity, from DNAC, and really from the entirety of the T-Wolves. The roams and the teleports up to that top lane from Asphyxia were really spot on too. So they just threw everything at Winnable, threw everything at Caress, and it all landed beautifully well. Now in this time, the main difference so far is going to be that the AD carry of choice for Champion Sniper is Jinx, who truthfully feels more like a sniper champion than Samira does, so maybe this is going to be even better.
The Kog'Maw has been locked in. Lulu is available on the table as well because it wasn't banned. And, okay, so maybe this is the play that Seahawks want. So now you have the powerful Kog'Maw or Juggernaut composition in the making. And check this out, Smacks. No Thresh has been locked in. So I guess for T-Wolves, they are very aware that Seahawks are not going to let Insanity have quite the game that he had on the Thresh in start of the series. Waiting out to see the bot lane of choice, and depending on what supports are banned by Seahawks, T-Wolves now have to come up with a different strategy that focuses on preventing this Kog'Maw and Lulu to getting to that late game threat.
Pike will not be the answer. That has been banned away. The T-Wolves are also sticking with their jungle ban strategy thus far. The Zac, they banned Fiddlesticks in the previous game. Can switch it up and go to the Karthus ban. I feel like that would make a lot of sense to ban away from Caress. He did deal a lot of damage in that game, even despite being put very far behind. There it is. Karthus is not going to be the option for Caress. However, that does open way to the Fiddlesticks. Does still leave that Rumble on the table, like we've been hoping to see. Although, the champion's really powerful, and if Caress didn't play it last game, I think it would be rather unexpected to see it in this game, but it still is very powerful. But the Thresh is gone.
This does leave another aggressive support in the Leona. Will say that Leona paired with Jinx is very forward. There is no moving back. There is no kiting with this one. There is no additional safety that you normally get when you pair the Thresh with the Jinx. And a lot of the time, Smacks, that can be quite dangerous for the likes of Champion Sniper on this pick, because that means they're not going to be able to get out of the way without flash of incoming threats like the Galio and the Fiddlesticks combo that have just been locked in for Seahawks.
All right, so the Galio is one that I'm really excited for in this game, Rafa, because it does mean that Neb can respond more easily to plays made across the map, especially once he does have access to the hero's entrance on the ultimate. Problem, though, did blind pick this Galio, and now he will have to deal with the Yone from Asphyxia. This matchup can be really nice for Yone. You don't have to worry too much about the damage from Galio. It is pretty high in the early game, but you are still Yone. You have some extra shielding, you have some extra healing, especially if you go for fleet footwork. So with this lane coming through for Asphyxia, I feel like it does have that advantage, but like I was saying before, Neb can roam with this pick, which is really exciting because it does open the way for Winnable to really pop off if they can make those plays up to the top lane, because then they're giving a lot of resources to Winnable, who, like we said, was dealing a lot of damage in the last game. He is their highest rated player. He does look to be like a potential big carry for this team. However, the cool thing about Galio, you can roam bot too, and that's where your Kog'Maw Lulu is, Rafa.
Name of the game: either impact and put this Kog'Maw ahead, or you go put that big dog in the top lane ahead. Yeah, why not both? If you can make it work, then the more the merrier, obviously, for the side of Seahawks, and they're the ones with the backs against the wall, down one game. Match point is in favor of the T-Wolves here in this finals for British Columbia. And we're looking at the T-Wolves composition that they have drafted. I mean, it's very similar to what they went with game one. The AD carry, not necessarily the most aggressive and one item power spiking potential as we saw the Samira was, but Jinx, if you have enough burst damage, which you definitely can with early game powerhouses like the Xin Zhao, and then if you're able to get enough burst from the remaining soul laners as well, then you will only need that one item for the Jinx to just get resets and just run away in those team fights here, Smacks.
And Jinx wasn't really or I guess Samira wasn't really the main focal point of the team there for T-Wolves in game one anyway. We got to see the Sylas really take over, going legendary in the late game stages of the game. We got to see the Medjay stacks come through, and that's still available for the T-Wolves. The Xin Zhao is still available. The aggressive support is still available. So just like you said, they still have a lot of the same pieces that showed them that success in game number one. So I'm expecting some really big things from them in this one as well. The main difference to me, like you said, it's not really about that Jinx, it's about the mid lane, because we're not seeing as much crowd control from Asphyxia in this game. We're not seeing that Lissandra, the utility mage in this one, is a very different playstyle for the Yone. And yes, he is against the Galio. Yes, he does have a pretty nice lane to maneuver in and scale up with the two items, Power Spike for a Yone, but it's not the same setup that we saw from Asphyxia in game one. It's not the same big crowd control, or the ultimate just making sure that the Nasus stays in one spot, can't attack anyone until he dies. That's not really available anymore. So it is going to be a little bit riskier, I feel.
A couple things to note, though, is when we're looking at ultimates for Astrolift, who is taking the Silas once again, he did not go deathless, but at one point he did have over 20 stacks on that Medjay Soul Stealer, so we know how powerful he can be. Not only he has some very powerful ultimates that he can always take, the Crow Storm being one of them, now accessible thanks to Fiddlesticks being locked in for Caress. Also, the Hero's Entrance from Galio. So, if he comes quick for a little drive-by in the mid lane and says, hey, let me hijack this ultimate real quick, and then he sees an opportunity to roam back from top lane into mid if things are getting dicey, he's going to be having, or he will have the global utility to respond to any actions that are being made by the Seahawks, obviously, without the need for teleport. But the other thing to note is that he is the only source of magic damage in this game, and he's not necessarily a consistent source of magic damage either. He is burst and combo reliant. If he goes down, and if you look at the members of this squad for Seahawks, if they start itemizing mainly into armor, they will be cutting down a lot of the damage that will be coming from the rest of the composition that T-Wolves have.
It's not the same Lysandra that we saw before. The magic damage is still somewhat relevant from Xin Zhao and from Yone. Yone's auto attacks deal half magic damage sometimes, every other. So it's still there, but yeah, I'm pulling some stretches for sure. I think if Silas does stay alive, then it's gonna
technically you are right, but yeah, in the grand scheme of things, it's like, it's not the most considerable. If you are really itemizing, for plated steel caps, if you are, and bramble vests, obviously, if you're winnable, you're going to cut down on the healing. Even though you are mainly going into the Silas, there will be moments where you will have to split against the Yone if he takes teleport, because more than likely, this is a 1-3-1 in the making that T-Wolves want to opt into. They want to split up the members of this map. They want to make sure that the Kog'Maw doesn't have all the resources and they don't have access to the entire squad. Save for Winnable, because Winnable more than likely just wants to remain in the side lane, splitting and opening D gates. We didn't really get to see that from him, but to be fair, he didn't really get a chance to live out that fantasy in game 1.
Definitely did not. Lots of fantasies were put to an end in the game 1. I feel for the Seahawks especially, but yeah, they do have that second opportunity and potentially a third opportunity to show us some victories here in this series, because it is that best of 3. They do still have some opportunities, but it is looking like the T-Wolves are feeling a little unstoppable, if I'm honest. We saw that first game. They had the advantage all the way through. It was the entire time. They kept growing and growing and growing the lead until the Nexus eventually popped. So it is going to be really important for the Seahawks to find some way to get into their fortress of that early game, or maybe late game as well. Maybe they can mount a comeback, but they can't have another game where they just don't have the lead the entire time. Again, they can't let that happen. They are on their last life.
Yeah, I didn't want to bring too much glaring attention to it earlier on in the draft, as we were obviously a little more captivated and excited about new champions coming into play for Seahawks, but once again, there is not that much early agency for this squad. I mean, when you're looking at playmakers, it's really Galio, or like early on. You can set up for ganks, but I mean, is Fiddlesticks really going to gank a lane before level 6? I mean, if he does, then you are in illegal territory if you are T-Wolves, because if you're getting ganked by Fiddlesticks just off of, I'm assuming he's running probably a Predator setup and just running up and fearing or silencing people. No, he's not even running Predator. It's Electrocute, just straight up damage. So if you're getting ganked by Fiddlesticks before level 6 successfully, then you are super overextended here, Smacks.
We will see if it comes through in this one. We're already seeing the T-Wolves set up for a level 1 play yet again. Game 1 was so successful for them. They'll find a Fiddlesticks effigy, though. And that is not going to provide you a whole lot. You do get CS. We can see Astrolift has increased his number to 1. Higher than everyone else's. But doesn't mean a whole lot.
It's usually why a lot of the pro teams will run a sweeper right at the beginning of the game. Obviously, as junglers, you can get an early ward in, recall, get the sweeper then for your first ganks, but sometimes the supports, by running sweeper early on, you can eliminate any of the defensive wards that come out as a response when you go for the invade. Fortunately, Sanity does not run it. Just wants to get some information rather than the denial of information away from Seahawks. DNEC going to start on this blue buff here. And look at that. I think if Caress pulls this off, he'll be able to start Wolves and Blue at the same time.
Yeah, he's in the perfect spot. Very nicely done by Caress to set this one up on the Fiddlesticks. And he's going to need to have this speed in this game, because we saw what happened in Game 1. DNEC started the game off so nicely on the Xin Zhao with a level 2 gank. That's not going to be true in this game. You can see he's taking away the Gromp. Already got the blue buff and just going for that full quadrant clear, so will be level 3, but still, it does benefit Caress to have this early game speed on lock, so that the late game situations can come through, and you don't have to worry as much about that early game agency problem that we mentioned.
Uh-oh, but they get the level 2 advantage. Insanity forcing the flash out of Good Samaritan once again. Doesn't even want to burn the chance, or run the chance of having to burn cleanse and then flash on top of it.
And that's a good point to bring up here. We see Good Samaritan and Geach, they do not have Ignite in this lane. They did opt for double defense, and that makes a lot of sense. You know, you do have the cleanse to get rid of some of the crowd control from Insanity. Didn't quite layer it there because the Leona crowd control and then the Jinx as well would have just left you in the same spot even after the cleanse, so does have to flash instead, but will have that option for later on, and Geach even has the heal too, so it's going to be a very safe Kog'Maw you have to feel, unless DNEC wants to come down, but DNEC wants to go up. As it turns out, you can see him in that Tri-Brush, still eking his way over to that gank, and I think Winnable's on the run.
App's gonna abduct, lands, Winnable's gonna burn the flash, DNEC audaciously charging in, gets the knockup down, Wind becomes lightning, stabbing right through the part of Winnable, and Astrolift. He's even throwing up the camp emote. He's letting Winnable know, it's like, hey, bud, you think this was the first one? Not even close. We're going to get more. But, Caress! Flashing over the Jinx traps. But apart from that, you don't really have that much ganking strength as Fiddlesticks jungle. But
he flashes over and he says, yeah. That's about it.
Uh-oh. Teleport coming in.
Oh,
but
wow.
who from? Insanity forcing an all-in onto Geach, but okay, Astrolift. I like the enthusiasm. Unfortunately, Yap's gonna abduct, hits a minion instead, gets Samaritan, not having to burn the cleanse, but Geach burned both of his summoners, went down. The kill did not go over to Champion Sniper, unfortunately, but Insanity still setting the pace and the tempo as Astrolift. Remember that drive-by we were talking about? He's not even level 6 yet. Oh my god.
Oh, and look at the setup here on the top side of the map. Insanity's already up here. DNEC is already up here. Winnable doesn't have flash.
Oh no. Dun. Oh, there's a ward there.
Ward.
Okay. Okay. Winnable. It's winnable in terms of preserving his life.
We saw his life flash before our eyes, but luckily that ward is there. Insanity is still relentless. You can see up there, still thinking about it. And
he's a
DNEC is as well. Man. Yes.
They want to gank this man so bad. Did he Hex Flash over the wall? Oh my god. At that point, if you're... They are really taking the strategy of just tilt them to the next level here.
You know, if that's me, it's working. I'm going to be completely honest. I usually don't get super mad at League of Legends, but that's why I have emotes turned off in the game when I'm playing it. Winnable does get taken down for a second time.
I honestly love the fact that emotes are in the game because it adds a whole other level of mental warfare and psychology. Because if the emotes really get into the opponent's players' heads, I mean, it's a part of the game. You know, why not? Use whatever you can, you know, and it's a legal part of the game. You're not cheating. You're not disconnecting the player from their keyboard. But if you tilt them far enough, they might disconnect it themselves. But that's a self-inflicted action, so, you know, I'm just saying, Smacks.
You know, if you're listening out there, please take Rafa's advice with a grain of salt. Don't break the Geneva Convention.
Yeah, I'm not advocating for illegal maneuvers. Please don't take it that
tactics.
way. I'm not advocating for Froggen and Creppa levels of DDoSing in competitive finals here. God, remember those days, Max? What a throwback.
I do. Was not quite casting yet, but I was a spectator. Neb is dead.
Well, I see three members in the mid lane.
Yeah.
I see three members, so I think the story can paint itself there for the audience at home. Champion Sniper, once again in the 1v2 situation, and look at this. It's not the massive 30 CS gap, but he's still keeping up in CS. He's not being threatened. I mean, Good Samaritan and Geach don't really have any means of being able to threaten Champion Sniper. There's no real lockdown available from Lulu apart from hitting a glitter lance for a slow and then oh man,
that's bullying.
F in the chat.
F for fiddlesticks.
This has been happening all series, Max. D-Neck on the Xin Zhao. I mean, he's not necessarily putting that much effort into farming, rather than he's just yoinking away camps.
Neb is like, well, D-Neck might be here. I have to teleport. And he is.
Yeah, well, Neb gets the teleport out. He interrupts the Justice Punch. Asphyxia's here. Fate Sealed is available. Actually, no, it's not available, but they don't need it. Oh, but Neb! He might make it out alive. Asphyxia?
Oh,
no, he doesn't got it. Oh my God, the dive is a little botched now for the side of T-Wolves. They come right back around. Hero's entrance is going to come in. Lands up the knock-up on the 2. But Insanity's now here. It's a 4-on-2. My God. But they're going to try to juggle turret aggro here. They get out 1. Insanity taking the turret aggro here. And just like that, it was a little sloppy at first, but T-Wolves make it work.
Okay, they got it in the end. Oh, this is like it's like coming in first place in Mario Kart after like being in 9th for the entire race.
No. I think a more I like the analogy. I think more appropriate is where you're like chilling in 5th and 6th, but you add a little bit more context. Someone threw a blue shell, and everyone just happened to be in the crossfire. And you're like, yep, I totally
earned
deserve
this.
first place. And it wasn't even you. Everyone just kind of tripped over themselves, but it worked out for T-Wolves. 3,000 gold lead after all the shenanigans that we just witnessed in the top half of the map for T-Wolves. It is... I wouldn't say it is as commanding as the Game 1 lead, because Good Samaritan and Geach still have a chance to be impactful in this game. They have not been punished. They have not been put out of the game anytime soon. They're keeping up in CS with Champion Sniper. So, if Seahawks can get to that late game point, this Kog'Maw will be a problem.
Definitely will. There is a Lulu. The Kog'Maw Lulu factor is online. You can see that Geach, while he hasn't roamed around nearly as much as Insanity, is still keeping up in terms of the levels here. You can see that the level 6 has been acquired for Geach, and Ian Good Samaritan will be threatening later on. It does appear that Good Samaritan is actually going for the Wit's End build, though, and I don't personally agree with this, but you know, people have been doing it quite a lot recently, and I find it curious.
First game Or the first dragon of the game. My apologies on the misspeak there. Hey, we talk for a living, by the way, ladies.
I think that was the second trick.
Was it? I
I
don't
think it was.
Oh,
Yeah, but
you're
Ocean
right.
Rift.
Yeah, that's right. Because Caress took a Cloud Dragon off the map while Winnable was had an unfortunate visit from multiple members of T-Wolves. So, one dragon apiece for T-Wolves and Seahawks. It is in Ocean Soul. We'll be trying to keep track of the dragons in our notepad, ladies and gentlemen, as... Justice Punch comes out from Neb, but Fate Sealed is the response, and just like that, like clockwork, 3 members are in Neb's lane once again.
Insanity didn't even get an assist for that one. That's how powerful they are at this stage of the game, Rafa. We're going to be seeing a Rift Herald take on top of it all. 12 minutes into this one, the turret platings are still intact, so they do get that Rift Herald sent through to the mid lane. It's going to be a huge influx in gold for Asphyxia, who already has 100 CS, most in the game, and a gigantic lead in that lane too. Looking down this bot side though, because Caress is here. Champion Sniper, though, is playing this super defensively very well, knows that he is the one who is vulnerable, he doesn't have Insanity, and he doesn't take the bait.
Speaking of Insanity,
Oh boy.
it's top lane again.
Bonk.
Bonk goes the Leona, in goes the Zenith Blade, in goes the Audacious Charge, and there's just no one that can bail Winnable out of this 3-man death squad, or this 2-man death squad in Insanity and D-Neck. They are just roaming as one, and wherever they go, they bring death.
This time it's mid lane, as Caress is flashing away. I don't think they've actually killed him, though. The turret is still alive, despite their best efforts to kill it. The Rift Herald actually was used top lane, though, so the first turret was already taken over there. And the mid lane one survives, actually.
With a sliver of health, how much health is that on the turret?
It's got to be like 200, 300, something in that realm. You see the blue buff is taken away. Everyone's here to watch it happen. But unfortunately, just a little bit too late. It's going to be sniped away by Astrolift. Taking a gander down at this bottom lane yet again. You see that Geach was roaming around trying to find some response across the map, but as it turns out, that is exactly what Champion Sniper wants him to do. In some alone time against the puppy Kog'Maw is going to be yet another turret plating taken by the T-Wolves in this game, extending their gold lead even further, 6,000 at 14 minutes.
Smacks, is this Kog'Maw rushing a
Wit's End, yeah.
a Wit's End?
Yeah.
Is it good as a first rush?
You know what? I was trying to be nice earlier, but I'll say it right now. No, I think it's very bad. But it's good against mages.
Yeah.
But the problem is, there's
only
only one
one.
of those.
Okay. Well, you know what? I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to Good Samaritan. Maybe they're able to combo the magic resist. The Wit's End does shred magic resist, right? So...
I do not believe that it does that anymore, no.
Oh, not anymore? Oh, no.
No.
Okay, well then I'm out of options. Because I could imagine that if it still had the magic resist shred option, then you're setting up for Neb and Caress to come in and deal tons of damage on MR shredded opponents, right? And so then the Good Samaritan is not necessarily a damage-heavy Kog'Maw. It's more of a buff, anti-buff or debuff Kog'Maw, I guess. But, well, you know, maybe Good Samaritan will make us eat our words. And it'll show that Wit's End will deal just as much damage. But they got to worry about taking care of the rest of the map first, because T-Wolves are just hammering away at inner turrets across the board here.
Still going in this top lane right now. They've got the Goon Squad as well. You already know. D-Neck and Insanity are there to help. Not going to be able to take down that turret quite yet, but all of this damage across the board is going to become so deadly eventually. You can see that just like in game number 1, the Seahawks are really just getting completely bled out. And they can't really go anywhere either. They're still getting pushed into their corner. And they, try as they might to survive their lanes, you can see that it's already 8-1. All of these kills have been stacking up. It's going to be another dragon over to the Seahawks. Or, excuse me, T-Wolves, rather. They do still have that one Drake from before, so it's not going to be as early as a Drake Soul possibly can be, but 2 Drakes already on an ocean map might end up being too tricky to deal with later on.
This is the second dragon of the game being secured for T-Wolves. Abscono Duct goes wide. Neb dodging out on that one. Insanity just walking up menacingly, interrupting the Justice Punch. Taunt will come out, but Neb is just going to be slowed all the while. Fate Sealed finally gets the knockup that they need. Wild Growth is not going to be enough to save the life of Neb. He goes down. This might open up an opportunity for this inhibitor turret to be taken by the members of T-Wolves, as the rest of the Seahawks are now getting in position to respond.
Oh, man. It's so tragic here for Neb on this Galio. Wait, hold that thought. I think a fight's about
Watch
to brew.
Caress.
Oh!
Pro Storm, Protobell right into the thick of the backline. Champion Sniper is gone. But look at Astrolith. We talked about this before. If there's a Crow Storm on the other side of the map, then he can take one for himself. And they answer back. Taking down Caress, taking down Winnable. But Good Samaritan, he's answering back. He's holding strong. What's in Kog'Maw will not go down without a fight. They're going to try to do their best to defend this turret. No teleport available for Asphyxia. And Neb is back into the fray.
I wasn't sure if Insanity was going to do it or not, but decides to Hex Flash. Still away. Wait.
Well, they find Neb, but Astrolith, I don't know if you have enough damage to be able to take him down. Shut down, going over to Good Samaritan. That's going to be a huge spike of gold influx into the puppy. Oh, man.
That's a little spooky, I have to admit. A little bit more spooky, though, is this Crow Storm. Fiddlesticks is a terrifying champion. You can see onto Champion Sniper. But even despite killing the AD carry early on, it's still all the rest of the members you have to worry about for the T-Wolves. Same as last game. Champion Sniper, I don't want to take anything away from Champion Sniper. It is their victory as well, but sort of just along for the ride in that last game, and it does appear to be the case in this one. It's a good skill to have playing weak side AD carry, but it's the rest of the team that is getting these kills. It's the rest of the team that is sort of getting a little too antsy for those last kills. You got to see it right there.
Oh my god, D-Neck is going to build a Wit's End too. This is...
See, that one makes more sense.
Yes. Because you're playing against Fiddlesticks and Galio, and now that a majority of Kog'Maw's damage is more magic-based with this rush, yeah, it's... All right, well, Asphyxia, you're about to get goon squatted by 3 people here, and I don't think you win this. Another shutdown. That's 3 back-to-back shutdown smacks. He already picked up a Runon's Hurricane off of the middle fight. How much gold does he have now?
A lot, I would imagine. 5-0 on the Coggers.
Okay, well, Winnable gonna get locked down. Solar Flare comes out. Astrolith trying to get as much damage as he can. Chain Lash into the Abscon Abducting. The Kingslayer puts the dog into the ground.
I didn't believe. I'll be honest, I did not believe they had the damage to kill the dog, but instead proved me wrong, taking out the turret as well. Even have that Rift Herald with all the pressure from before. See the vision toggle. Asphyxia believes that they are completely alright. Nope. That's all.
Can you do a Porky Pig impression? That's all, folks.
That's all, folks.
Hey, that was pretty good. That was much better than mine. I can't get the stutter down. You know, poor Winnable. Note here that he does not really have any durability stats or any defensive at that time. He was really rocking just the Doran Shield and a Cloth Armor. Only the damage from the Divine Sunderer, but you don't really get a chance to do any damage if you are just stunned for...
The whole map, really. The entire game. It's been 21 minutes, and he's been stunned for the entirety of it.
As soon as the T-Wolf show up on his screen, he is already perma-stunned, both from fear and actual crowd control.
Yeah. I feel like at this point it's less stun and more just, all right, get it over with.
So sad.
We already know. We already know what you're here for.
Man.
Take your 200 gold and go.
You know what? He is hitting 300 stacks at the 20-minute mark, so it's not bad. It's not bad. He's still managing to have that damage. Yeah. Teleport early on coming in. This will be the third Ocean Dragon for the taking for the side of T-Wolves. Would put them at Soul Point. And I think at that point, Seahawks, they don't even want to contest. Or they don't want to make sure that T-Wolves don't get a chance to even have the threat of being at Soul Point. They want to fight this fight now.
This is not a bad setup for the Seawolves or the Seahawks at all. This is pretty solid, actually. They have battle lines. They have a lack of vision here where Caress can cast the Crowstorm. This is probably as good of a position as they possibly could ask for, I feel, Rafa, as they set this up. Is spotted. There's Crowstorm.
Crowstorm comes in, but it's a nice ultimate
Wow.
from D-Neck to... Oh my god! Wait a minute! The resets! It's just disgusting! And Good Samaritan even picking up so many shutdowns in the prior fights. He can't fight all 5 members of the T-Wolves. Smacks! What in the world just happened?
If that's as good as they're going to get, then I think we have our finals winners, Rafa, but I don't want to call it quite yet. The Nexus is still standing, but the T-Wolves, wow. Let's watch this one again. Let's look at Asphyxia. This guy was stuck on Lysandra jail last game, and then... Whoop.
4-man Fate Sealed. Caress dodged out on it because of the Zonias, but God, he catches majority of the team in the thick of it, which sets up for Astrolift's Crowstorm. No, he didn't even pop the Crowstorm. He still had it, I believe.
Yeah,
or
that
unless...
circle was D-Neck's ult.
Man.
Brutal. Absolutely brutal. 5 for 0 ace. Locking in Soul Point. Locking in Baron. 10k gold lead now, too. And like I was saying, the battle lines were really good for the Seahawks right there. They had everyone lined up and ready to go. They had the Fiddlesticks ultimate angle. They had Kog'Maw with the front line, making sure that he gets to stay alive. But now after that, look at what Good Samaritan's saying. He's like, oh God, my front line can't do anything. I gotta get a Randuin's. I can't live.
Wait.
Yo, Shopkeep. Give me the tank item.
Oh no, but like Neb opted in for the Sunfire cape. So he's not really doing any damage. He's a dedicated frontliner. Caress, in reality, Smacks, I feel like Caress is doing more damage than Good Samaritan just because Good Samaritan has opted in for so many defensive stats in this build.
No mythic item either. So the damage is really not there on this Kog'Maw build at all. I understand the thought process with the Randuins, but boy is it tragic in this game. This is a comp that's sort of built for this Kog'Maw to work out. You've got the Lulu there, but the team fights have just been all in favor of the T-Wolves here in the British Columbia Finals. And, I mean, with team fights like that, these guys are competitive when we get to the big one as well. Not even just this finals. These guys are looking so coordinated as this team. You can see they have this wave set up as well. In the top lane and in the mid lane, they know exactly what they need to do with this Baron buff.
Yeah, this level of coordination was probably really matched by La Quinta High School from California finals that we saw just a couple of days ago. But, you know, if T-Wolves were to advance, if they were able to close out this game off of this 12,000 gold lead, and they were to go up against La Quinta, I know that'd be a incredibly hype matchup to see. I don't know how the rest of the bracket will play out, as PlayVS will obviously be taking care of that. Fate Sealed goes a little wide, doesn't land onto Geach. Gonna have to take the Soul Unbound. Oh, he doesn't even get a chance because he got polymorphed and silenced for so long. And now this opens up an opportunity. No Asphyxia means there's no strong methods of engage outside of Insanity's Solar Flare to be able to force a fight again.
More stacks for Winnable on top of it all. The Q is hurting a lot. He gets in range to do that, but the flash being used does mean that Winnable might not have that opportunity again anytime soon. Baron expired does mean that the siege is going to be called off from the T-Wolves, but the Drake is going to be up in a minute's time. That is where we really get to see if they can close this one out, if they can get the Ocean Soul online. Because at that point, Asphyxia might just be able to go for plays like that and survive with all the sustain that the Soul does provide. You can also see that the Guardian Angel is going to be picked up as well. So more defense for the winning team is always going to be a good thing. It secures that you keep your advantages rolling. You are much harder to kill, and you still have all that damage because you're a couple of levels up. Asphyxia's case is 2 levels above Neb, who has gone for this pure utility build on the Galio mid.
Teleport is coming in for Winnable to make sure that he is there for the contestation of this potential Ocean Soul. For the members of Pine Tree Secondary High School, the T-Wolves have been doing such an incredible job throughout the early game to get these leads. They may not be the best at closing them out early on, but we are approaching that 30-minute mark, which is around the same time where they're able to win the game prior. Asphyxia getting interrupted on the Fate Sealed, use it as escape route. Stopwatch comes out to buy some time. Caress buying enough space for the rest of the members to deal with Asphyxia, but he's still alive. He never went down. He finally goes down, but the Crowstorm answer from Astrolith wipes out the entire front line from the Seahawks. And I don't even think they need the Ocean Soul. It is practically an open base. The inhibitor has already been taken down. A teleport coming in from Astrolift and Smacks. I think we have our finals representing, or I should say the winners representing the British Columbia finals and all of Canada proudly in the T-Wolves, ladies and gentlemen.
That fight was even better for them, even though they ended up with that early positioning disadvantage with the flank from Winnable. They had the power, they had the speed, and they had the strength to close out this series with an even quicker game in the second one. It seems like they stepped it up even another notch in this finals. That wasn't even their final form until game 2. We got to see that one from the T-Wolves. Expert team play all throughout. So many crazy roams, so many crazy team fights. It all culminates in this 2-0 victory.
Yeah, and game 1, honorable MVP obviously to Insanity, who set up that the tempo of the game and working hand in hand with D-Neck, basically just setting the state of the game for T-Wolf success. But both games, D-Neck on the Xin Zhao, I mean, there's a reason why in prior seasons, in Season 8 most notably, he was called the Win Now champion. You just, as soon as you hit level 2 and red buff, that's all you need to start making plays on the map. And every single lane he touched, it was death. For Neb, for Winnable, even for bot lane, and a majority in the game 1 ganks that we saw. Honestly, yeah, huge shout outs to both of those, because they're the ones that really controlled the pace of the game and set T-Wolves up for success here, Smacks.
Super impressive coordination across the board here for the T-Wolves, but just as you mentioned, the jungle and support are the linchpins for early success most often. And this is exactly one of those times. This is one of those series where you look at it and you're like, wow, jungle and support are so broken. They just get to do this. They get to run around and just kill everybody whenever they want. And when you're this good, that's true. You get to just run around and go for all these ganks, making sure that all of your lanes are winning at the same time. That is not something that is easy to accomplish in League of Legends. But they sure did make it seem so right now, Rafa. The T-Wolves are your champions in the finals. Really well done, guys. Really well done.
Yeah, shout-outs to Pine Tree Secondary School for being the home of these talented youngsters. hailing from British Columbia in Canada. And a salute to you from your American neighbors from across the border. We hope to see you continue competing as like we said before, we're not sure how necessarily the bracket will continue for the PlayVS All-Stars Cup, where I believe it will be bringing the winners of all the finals. But until then, we hope to see you soon. And on behalf of the entire broadcast and crew for PlayVS Spring 2021 finals here for all the high schools, thank you so much and have a good night.
'Cause I've been sitting here, same old ways, taking off without the same mistake.